Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
My cousin back in Wisconsin has decided to change calling the bathroom the John and has renamed it the gym. The reason? He feels so much better saying, I went to the gym this morning. Good morning, everybody. Zeb Bell. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Good morning, everybody. Case, I'll call you back. And good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. And right now, we want to extend a very good morning to everyone out in our listening audience. And certainly hope and pray that everybody's doing well. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, don't forget some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today, locally owned and operated, 734-6969. And Valley Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida and Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. And as you are probably aware, we have a brand new sidekick over there sitting in the saddle at the main studios, and that's Damon. Good morning to him. And also, it's time for our pledger. Damon, do we have somebody with the Pledge of Allegiance this morning? Okay, hold on. I think he's got him all set up on the phone. Go ahead and put him on the air if you would, Damon, please. Good morning. Are we there, Damon? Put them on the air, please. Evidently, a little bit of a problem. Damon, are you there? Turn your microphone on.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right, where is the Pledge of Allegiance? Has we got somebody on the phone?
Yes, we got Rotten on the phone.
All right, you turn him up nice and loud. Let him, so I can hear him. Go ahead, get him on. Good morning, Rotten. How are you?
Rottener than rotten.
All right, my friend. Thank you for calling in. Give us the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Always good to hear from you, my dear friend, and don't you dare forget Lunch Bunch on Thursday, okay?
We plan on being there.
Oh, thank you. God bless you and your lovely, quiet, shy, retiring wife. Have a good day, sir. Evidently, we struck a nerve. Good morning. Thank you very much. Oh, it's time for Michael Rogers' weather, and the weather is brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. My goodness, I thought he was going to go through the phone. 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Number to call 678-6945. All you have to do is look for the blue door. They specialize in carpet and flooring and kitchen construction, home decor, whatever you need to make your house a home. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, open Mondays through Fridays 9 to 6 and Saturdays 10 to 4. Don't forget Cheney Flooring and Home Design, and they've got all kinds of newly refurbished furniture too. Look for the blue door, Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. I'm good. Go ahead and tell us how great the weather's going to be.
Well, it's going to be yucky, Zeb. I'm sorry. It won't be great till tomorrow. It's going to be yucky today. Morning, everybody. Got scattered shower today, 60s for the high. swing for the overnight low. Then the good news, it gets nice tomorrow. Nice, beautiful sunrise right between the Twin Towers. And you're going to see that pattern take you all the way through the weekend. Should hit about 71, 72 on Saturday. So just get through today, and we'll be just fine. Hey, Damon, I've been there where you've been there before. I understand. Hang in there, dude. You're going to be fine. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
All right. Thank you, Michael. And that's Michael Rogers Weather, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget, too, on Thursdays, it's the Burley Livestock Yard and their big sale on Thursdays at 10 a.m. They bring down the gavel and say, let them in, boys. Here we go. 1100 Occidental Avenue. And the number to call for consignments or information about the big sale to Merv May, Cade Rogge, or Lance Udy, 678-9411. That number is 678-9411. Sale day Thursday, 10 a.m., Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
May love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home. May good and faithful friends be yours whenever you may roam. May peace and plenty bless your world with joy that long endures. May all of life's passing seasons bring the best to you and yours.
That doesn't even sound like Alan Butler.
Got you shook up, didn't it?
Holy smokes, what happened to you? Instead of turning over a new leaf, did you turn over the whole tree?
Well, I read the article that you and Alexander had on the program, and you didn't come off so bad.
Well, thank you, Al. Gee, that means so much to me. I am just...
I give you a blessing. You want me to give you a good old American blessing?
No, I know about your American blessings, and we can't do that over the air.
Have a good one,
All right,
Deb.
buddy. Thank you. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to talk to you in just a minute about parking spaces. Yeah, stand by for that. First of all, Daryl's Cleaners. I bit my tongue. Ooh! Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, and Kevin and Cindy and the whole crew always doing such a phenomenal job of making sure that your clothes, your old rumply-crumplies, come back looking brand spanking new. All you have to do is just stop in there, whether it's your drapes, whether it's your tablecloths, whether it's your coats, whether it's your shirts, whatever. They do a phenomenal job. So please stop in today at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, the very best. Oh, and by the way, when we talk about the very best, I also want to mention SafeLink Internet. Idaho's #1 choice for high-speed wireless internet. And you can get the first month free installation, everything, no contracts, no credit checks, unlimited data. And you check with them today. Number to call, 677-8000. SafeLink Internet. You tell them I told you to call, 677-8000. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. How many of you have been going around and around and around a parking lot trying to find a space? And finally, you're just cruising at a very less than walk speed. And in that parking lot, you are all of a sudden in back of a car that it hit its brake lights, they're starting up the engine, and you stop. And you're going to back up and let that person out so that you can finally have a parking spot. Au contraire. You have looked for that parking spot. It's all hands on deck. The devil be darned. Full speed ahead. Dang the torpedoes. Fight for your space. And some nincompoop pulls up right behind your bumper and starts honking the horn at you as you are trying to back up and let this person out of the space. As if they were telling you, hey, you go on by and we will take that space. Now that just had me erupt my temper like Mount Vesuvius. This person would not back up off my bumper so I could let this car out. And finally, after a good minute to 2 minutes of motioning nicely, and I said nicely, to tell the person behind me to back up, I finally had to stick my head out the window, and my German temper erupted, and I said something like, "Back that four-wheeled bucket of rust up before I put my trailer hitch through your front end." It seemed to work, and they finally backed up so I could let this nice lady out of her parking spot, who had waited patiently for the last couple of minutes. And then I, after letting her out, drove into a parking spot that I had waited a good 10 minutes for. And the other person drove by and gave me the sign that in their hearts and minds, I was still number one. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget, go to the light, go to the light, go to the light at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call is 678-0459. They have all your light bulbs, and boy, this person that was behind me yesterday could have used a light bulb. Anyway, they've got all the regular bulbs, high and low wattage. They've got everything, all the fluorescent lights. They've got the ballast and the repair parts. They've got it all right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Fridays, where they always provide warm winters and cool summers at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, and by the way, calls, come on, give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you, the chicks are in town over at Valleywide Home and Ranch. You better get over there. And we're talking here a chick, there a chick, everywhere a chick. Wrong chick. Yeah, right. Get the little ones. The little bitty ones that are going to eat everything, and then they run around the floor and you can't catch them. The chicks have been delivered, and now's the time to get all your chick starter kits and everything, your feed, your flock raiser, your start and grow. They've got it all for you, and all the material, all the equipment, everything you need for healthy chickens. So stop over to Valleywide Home and Ranch and check out Chick Days at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. And give them a call, too, Sean and Mandy, the whole crew over there. Chicks are only 99 cents a piece. Holy cow, get on over there and start your own flock at Valleywide Home and Ranch. All right, give me a jingle, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. I could never understand, parking spaces in certain areas. This was at a medical facility, okay? And I waited with great patience, which for me is unusual. My lovely bride was sitting right next to me in the seat, and waited and drove very slowly and cautiously until finally there was a chance at an opportunity to get a space. And then you have this wonderful put their bumper on my bumper attitude, and I am not going to stand for that. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Last evening when we got home, after the parking incident, some of our dearest friends and I have the utmost regard for Bert and Elaine Stevenson. They stopped by, and nice visit, and Bert's going to be on my program a little bit later on this morning at 9:30 talking about water issues, but I really do appreciate their stopping by, and thank you for the gift of the book, and they just are some super, super nice people. St. Patrick's Day today. Oh, to kiss the Blarney Stone. This holiday is celebrated every year on March 17th. That honors the Irish patron saint, St. Patrick. And here's what my darling wife pulled off the internet this morning. It says here, the celebrations are largely Irish culture themed and typically consist, listen to this, typically consist of wearing green, parades, and lots of drinking. I'm not kidding you. They got down here in one of the headlines for St. Patrick's Day, they say, drinking. Since many Catholics are Irish Americans, some may be required to fast from drinking during Lent. However, They are allowed to break this fast during St. Patrick's Day celebrations, and this is one cause for the day's association with drinking heavily. St. Patrick's Day, oh my. Hey, don't forget, this Thursday, this week, day after tomorrow, we're going to be over at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, for our Zeb's Lunch Bunch at 11:30, and we invite you to be there. So come on down. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. And whether you like breakfast, which is my favorite meal, or whether you like lunch, or whether you like dinner, I mean, my goodness, the menu is just chock full of all the goodies you like. And don't forget, too, they just opened up another Denny's at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. So holy buckets, you have your choice. You can go to either in Twin Falls or Burley. You better believe it. Denny's Restaurant, and we'll be at the 611 Overland location in Burley on Thursday for Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and we will see you there at Denny's. Excellent people, excellent food. Come on, give me a call, 436-2. I'll tell you what, the next person that calls, it's your lucky day. We will give you a free lunch at Denny's this Thursday. How about that? There's a little incentive. Jump on the phone and call 436-2244. The first person that calls, I'm in a good mood this morning, and which is unusual. But go ahead and give me a call. First person that calls in and talks to me about any of these issues this morning gets a free lunch at Denny's at Lunch Punch. So give me a call. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, oh my goodness, yeah, you got to bribe them. You got to bribe them. Hold on, caller. I'll find out who you are momentarily. Barry's Equipment and Rental, 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, and Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls. And that's, of course, also the new location at West Highway 30 in Burley with Nick and the whole crew with all your equipment needs. Whether you need the big Doosan loaders, and they've got a bunch of them, or the excavators, or if you need the Coyote tractors or the Walker mowers, oh, baby, they've got the equipment to get the job done right now this spring. So please check them out. Barry's Equipment and Rentals, serving you with the best of rental rates and rebates, fantastic warranties. Barry Equipment and Rental, Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. All right, let's see who this is. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. I was dialing, and boy, I guess I hit that one good. This is Adrian.
I'm going to honor my deal. I'm going to buy you lunch at Denny's on Thursday if you can make it to Lunch Bunch.
This Thursday?
Yeah.
Not this Thursday, I'm sorry.
Well,
I'll be there. I'll be in Burley Thursday night for the JBS speaking engagement, but I've got other commitments during the day.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, real quick, tell us about this free trade agreement meeting going on this Thursday night in Burley.
Yeah, the CEO of the John Birch Society is going to be talking about these trade agreements that haven't really been real good for the Americans as far as our jobs and businesses and so forth. And this particular evening at 7 o'clock at King's Little Theater there in Burley on Park Avenue, there's no admission charge. The CEO of the John Birch Society, Art Thompson's going to be there and speaking on this subject. 24 out of the 29 chapters have to do with economic and political merger, and more of our jobs are going to go, and we're going to lose more of our sovereignty. So people come, put that on your calendar for 7 o'clock in Burley this coming Thursday. So we certainly hope you'll be there.
All right, Adrian, just a minute. Don't ramble on me. Free trade agreements. You would agree, and give me a short answer on this, that our trade agreements lately, in the last decade or more, have been absolutely against the American entrepreneur and businessman, and basically free trade is a misnomer. Everything has been to help other countries, other people, but not us.
Oh, absolutely. I'll just give you a little quick history on NAFTA.
Short history.
NAFTA thing, we had almost no trade balance we were basically even Steven with Canada and Mexico. Now, after all these years, we've shipped out about 40,000 factories have closed, over 1 million jobs have gone either to different places, Canada and Mexico particularly, and our trade imbalance every year is about $150 billion.
Yeah.
And so that's money that's leaving the country. And the ones with Korea were just as bad. None of these agreements have been very good. And so this one's even worse. This is with these trade agreements with the EU and with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is with the Pacific Rim countries.
All right, now wait a minute. You're rambling again. I'm short on time. What about the GOP? What about the Republicans? Do they see through this smokescreen on free trade agreements or not? Just give me a short answer. I've got 1 minute left in this segment.
They can't. Really, they don't, because I've tried to get them to stop the fast track thing, and I can't get a positive answer. They just kind of, hem-haw, and they say, well, we'll look into it. But if they don't the fast track people, what that does is once the State Department negotiates a trade agreement, the Congress votes it up or down, just like they did NAFTA.
Yeah.
And of course, if you vote up, there's no amendments. There's no really looking at the trade agreement to see how bad they are.
All right. And that meeting is going to be Thursday night at the King's Little Theater, right, on the Burley High School campus. Right.
So it's just off Park Avenue there, and you can go down Overland to 24th and go over that way, or you can go west on Main Street to Park Avenue and go south.
All right, we're going to have Mr. Thompson on tomorrow at exactly 9:06, and we'll ask him more about this. Got to run and do a break. Adrian, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Have a good day. Thank you.
All right, sir. I want to remind everybody about Will Tran. Hello, Lucky Bourne. My old Lucky. Good auctioneer, too, by the way. Did a super job at the Lincoln Day luncheon. But he's also connected with Will Tran Incorporated, 529 F Street in Rupert, Lucky Bourne, and they're looking for some really good drivers. 2 years Class A driving experience and a clean driving record. And benefit packages available after 60 days of employment, and they've got over-the-road positions available. Both provide great home time, and they provide load and unload pay. Hey, check it out. Apply online at WillTranIncorporated.com or call Will Tran Incorporated at 639-6411. You call him today, Lucky Bourne, at Will Tran Incorporated. Right now we're going to have our Capital Press Ag Minute, and it's brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology with Christine Pickup. And I'm going over next week. We've got it all scheduled, and have a hearing screening, so that when I tell you about these hearing screenings, you will know firsthand how they do it and what kind of shape my ears are in. Did you hear that? Well, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, Christine Pickup, and she's located at 1218 9th Street, Unit 2, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and the number 312-0957. And that's, of course, Mount Harrison Audiology, bringing you now the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly. The U.S. Potato Board has approved a program that matches industry donations to buy up to 3,000 salad bars for school cafeterias during the next 5 years. USPB also plans to maintain contact with school district food service professionals, both at schools receiving new salad bars and those that had them previously, to suggest creative potato preparation ideas and offer display materials. Members of the USPB's 7 caucuses gave their consent to allocate $900,000 in reserves toward the first year of the program during the organization's recent annual meeting in Colorado Springs. The USPB Salad Bar Challenge, which is similar to another salad bar program offered by United Fresh Produce Association, started in January. This is Brandon Tenner. For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and CapitalPress.com.
Brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology with Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology, and the number to call for your hearing screening, 312-0957. Hey, by the way, Adrian did not take the lunch. So the next person that calls and can go to Lunch Bunch on this Thursday at Denny's, I am going to buy you lunch. So hurry up and run to the phone at a high lobe, get off the horse and slide to a stop, and dial the number 436-2244. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, don't forget Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service with Scott Gano and his whole crew. You better believe it, always serving you with trees that are properly pruned. You give them a call. I'll take care of all the fruit trees, ornamental trees, shade trees, large dangerous trees, no problemo. They can help. You better believe it. They've been in the tree and landscape business for over 35 years. This man is from New York State originally, and he knows trees. There's trees all over the place back there. Well, he's now in the business here for 35 years, and he can help you. Scott Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 431-8733. Good morning, caller. What is your name?
Barbara.
Barbara what?
Oh, I'm not going to say my whole name.
Well, Barbara, how am I going to buy you lunch on Lunch Bunch Day if you don't give me your full name? I'll tell you what. I'll just write Barbara down, and I'll look for you at Lunch Bunch. Is your radio on, Barbara? If it is, turn it off, because we're having a whole bunch of feedback. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Are you going to be there Thursday?
Excuse me?
Are you going to be there Thursday?
I hope to be there Thursday.
All right, you come over and introduce yourself, and I will buy your lunch at Denny's, okay?
Okay, thank you so very much.
All right, God bless you.
St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, thank you very much. And so there's a very nice lady. We'll look forward to seeing her at Lunch Bunch on Thursday, and I'll put it down right here. We owe her a lunch. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you hear what happened to Ted Cruz? This is unbelievable. Whether you like the man or whether you don't like the man, that's irrelevant in the story. It just shows how the absolutely Looney Tunes Democratic left changes a story and makes these people like Ted Cruz and others look like mass serial killers. It's so silly. He was giving a speech. And it was one of those get in the middle of the audience type things and just kind of tell everybody what's going on. And he's in the middle of his speech. And he said that right now, under President, and I'm paraphrasing, please, I'm not giving a direct quote. Under President Obama, the world is on fire with hot spots here, hot spots there, hot spots over here, hot spots here in this area. And he said the world is on fire. All of a sudden, and by the way, there was a little bitty 3-year-old girl sitting with her mother in the front row. And when Ted Cruz said the world is on fire, the little girl looked at her mother and said, "Is the world on fire?" And Ted stopped his speech and looked right at the little girl, and in a very nice, fatherly fashion, he said an explanation as to what he meant. And he said that your mama will tell you all about it and what it was meant and everything. He said very, very nicely. Well, guess what? The headlines in the morning papers back in New York and Boston and other major cities said that Cruz terrorizes a 3-year-old girl. Cruz frightens a 3-year-old girl. And they went on and on as to how they demonized the man and said that he absolutely was frightening the children. No, he wasn't in the first place. What is a 3-year-old girl doing at a political speech sitting in the front row? I mean, I'm not knocking the mom for having her there. Probably couldn't get a babysitter or whatever. But my goodness, he handled it so professionally and so fatherly that the girl, later on that day, Ted Cruz called the little girl and wanted to see if she was all right, and the mother answered the phone, and she turned around and said to the little girl, "It's the fireman on the phone, and he wants to talk to you." And she called him Uncle Cruz. I mean, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of like, there's a lot of everything there, because the little girl thought a lot of him. But the liberal loons in the newspaper business to sell newspapers and to denigrate anybody on the right, conservatives, absolutely demonized the man. It's absolutely ridiculous. Callers are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you one other commercial, and then I want to talk about the redhead that works for our government in the White House by the name of Jen Psaki. Where do they find these people? Good morning, Deanne. My lovely bride just showed up in the office. Hey, would you do me a favor, dear, and call that number? He tried to call while I was on the air. And if you'd do that for me, I'd appreciate it. We're going to have more in just a moment, so your calls are welcome and appreciated. And I want to talk to you a little bit about Hillary Clinton and an unsigned form. Stand by for that. Well, we have just a minute. I want to remind you about Streamline Precision at 120 South, 100 West of Burley, right next to Dot Foods, and Tim Vaughn. Now, Tim just goes sickling by here the other night. I thought he was going to stop in and say hello, but he's busy, and he's the man to call, Streamline Precision, for estimates on anything that you need built on your property. Absolutely. Here's the number. I'll give you that first, 431-7314. 431-7314. Streamline Precision is a family of companies providing construction, excavation, and fabrication services, and right now, boy, this time of the year, they're putting up a lot of grain bins for on-the-farm storage. They're an authorized dealer for Sukup, Chief, Balin, and Nucor buildings, so they know their stuff. And also, they're doing a lot of cement work, too, for dairies and ranches, on the mangers and the feed alleys. So get a hold of the best. Get a hold of the professionals that really know what they're doing. Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley, and the number again, 431-7314. They're building the new Funk Dairy just south of me in Murtaugh. They know their stuff. Streamline Precision. Bit my tongue again. Streamline Precision. The professionals serving you. You laugh, but it's painful. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There's one thing I want to comment on this morning. And I really feel this way in regards to what happened to a person that politically I absolutely am diametrically opposed to anything and everything that he says. But I draw the line when it comes to violence or damaging someone's property. I was reading in the paper this morning, on the op-ed page, the Times News, that John Alexander, someone of a very slow mind and not a very decent person whatsoever, had slashed the tires on his vehicle. And, you know, it just brought to mind that we can have extreme differences in political debates. We can have absolute, no, you're wrong, and slam the fist down on the table, and they can say, no, you're wrong, and they can slam their fist on the table. But I draw the line on violence or criminal activity. It has no position whatsoever on the table when it comes to political differences. And anyone doing something as low as that should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And I hope they catch that person. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. I don't know, boy, lately in the morning, the first hour, I think we better start waking up. Maybe daylight saving time has something to do with it. I know I personally have never, ever cared for daylight saving time, and I like it less this year. I guess as we get older, I like it less than I ever did. So give us a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I called you last week and spoke to you about an issue that is, I think it's still in the legislature. I don't think it's been shelved or whatever they call that. About the
I'm going to ask you to speak up just a little.
The concealed carry statutes, and particularly speaking about the elected officials being exempted from requiring a concealed carry permit, and and you seem to have basically the same stand on it that I do, is that if that our lawmakers or legislators should not be exempt from laws that they pass for the general citizen population. And I just wondered if you would, you have some influence and you have a voice, that's well respected, and I just wondered if you would maybe say something about that again, so that our legislators will listen and agree with our point of view that they are not better than we are simply because they have the honor and the privilege to represent our state.
I did, and I'll tell you what's going to happen on, let me check my book here real fast, caller. Next week on Tuesday at 9:06, Senator Lee Hyder is going to be on the program talking about this, and I followed up after your phone call and I called him and asked him to come on the show before he has to go on the Senate floor at 10 o'clock, so he's going to be on next Tuesday.
Oh, great. Well, you're proactive. you put your money where your mouth is. I appreciate that.
No, we're going to be talking about this, and I learned something that really bothered me, and you probably knew it. Where do you live, in Burley or Twin Falls, or where do you live?
In Jerome.
I did not know, and I'm going to be really honest about this, and I'm going to ask you a question of your honesty and see if you knew it. Did you know that in the city of Twin Falls, it is illegal to even carry a pocket knife? Did you know that?
It is not, or is?
It is illegal to carry a pocket knife.
Oh, a folding, what we know as a pocket knife. I didn't know that.
I didn't either, and that's one of the things that we're going to be talking to Senator Lee Hyder about on next Tuesday, along with what you said, and it's ordinances like these that need to be brought out to public attention. I don't think anybody is going to try to enforce it, but can you imagine all the people in Twin Falls that have pocket knives, all the people in Twin Falls that sell pocket knives, whether it's Sportsman's Warehouse or whomever? I mean, a lot of people don't understand what laws are on the books, that if some weirdo wanted to start enforcing them, look at all the problems they'd cause.
Yeah, there are weird laws. I carry a folding knife all the time. It's the clip-on that kind of clips on my pocket.
I have one in my pocket right now.
Yeah, those are real popular, and they're real handy, and they're good tools. And I guess actually in some cases they wouldn't be concealed because they're in plain view if you don't have a jacket or something hanging over them.
Yeah.
But yeah, a pocket knife, that's absolutely silly. And like you say, it's if the law is there, then what we call discretion. They could actually decide to enforce that in any case that they wanted to be kind of punitive about. Or ornery about, they could do that, because if it's on the books, then they could enforce it. But there's a lot of silly stuff, and
absolutely, I just want to jump in here. I've got to get into the weather, but I want to tell you that next Tuesday at 9:06, Senator Lee Hyder, and we're going to be talking about this. And I do appreciate your call, because it made me give me the impetus to go ahead and get him on the air, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Zip.
All right. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's next Tuesday, Senator Lee Hyder, and boy, I like Lee. He's a straight shooter and an outdoorsman, and he knows all about guns and ammo and knives and everything. He'll be on the program. Holy smokes, I got to hurry. I'm running late, and then we'll take some more calls. Don't forget Penetron Soil Conditioner by Maisie. Had them on the program for many years. They have a 21-year proven record of increasing yield and quality of all Idaho crops. Speeding germination, reducing crusting and improving stand, and stimulating root growth, and my favorite, microbial activity, and also builds soil structure. And Penetron saves on expensive fuel costs too. Penetron soil conditioner gives faster water infiltration to reduce runoff, and low-cost Penetron saves 10 to 15% on irrigation water, thus reducing pumping expense. Penetron treated crops have better roots that reduce stress for water and nutrients, and you can increase your crop's performance with a proven soil conditioner, Penetron by Maisie. Get the original, not the cheap imitations. Contact your crop advisor to obtain Penetron soil conditioner, and also for additional information, call Adrian Arp at 734-2255. Penetron by Maisie. Oh my goodness, it's time for the weather, and the weather this hour is brought to you by Red's Trading Post. I gotta get everything squared away here. Red's Trading Post at 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls with Ryan Horsley and the rest of the crew. My goodness, it's an historic old town, Twin Falls, since 1936. And they'll give you top dollar for your used guns, and they've got all the ammunition. They get new shipments arriving daily. And also they've got all the new guns and the ammo and the accessories and the top quality people to answer your questions at Red's Trading Post. Stop in and see them today, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. And right now, here's Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers from Zeb at the Ranch. So you got showers today. They'll carry over until tonight. Well, you're going to come out of it tomorrow. It's going to be nice. It's going to be really nice and sunny. So we just get through today. Got a nice day for tomorrow, and it'll take you all the way into the weekend. Daytime highs in the 60s for today, 40s for the overnight low. Don't forget, you should hit 71 by Saturday. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the weather. Stay on what you got.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls, bringing you the weather this hour. All right, your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. What is this about Hillary Clinton? Come on, really? Jen Psaki was asked a question at a White House briefing yesterday, and the gentleman, sitting in the press room core, asked the question, well, where is the form? Where is the form that Hillary Clinton was supposed to have signed that says basically when you leave the State Department, you have to provide any and all information that belongs to the State Department back to the State Department, and if you don't, paraphrasing, you're in a heap of trouble. Well, this has been asked now for over 2 weeks? Where is the signed form from Hillary Clinton while she was Secretary of State? Why is she above the rules? Well, yesterday, Jen Psaki, the redhead in the White House, said, we're still looking for it. Now, doesn't it give one pause to think that the State Department wouldn't be really organized? The State Department wouldn't have a file on everyone. The State Department wouldn't have all these computer printout sheets and everything organized in each person that works for the State Department and all their info. But after 2 weeks for Hillary Clinton, well, we're still looking for it, as if all of a sudden, and this really bothers me, as if all of a sudden this form is going to just all of a sudden, well, there it is. It was there in plain sight all the time. We just overlooked it. What's going on here? You know, the more I hear this story with Hillary Clinton, the more I am absolutely inclined to think that there's something really, really sleazy and dirty and covering up the truth about emails that belong to us, the United States of America. Emails that might have something to really tell people about why 4 Americans died in Benghazi. Emails that might really incriminate Hillary Clinton and show the nastiness and dirtiness of politics. emails that they can't find, but Hillary and Bill sat in their house in Chappaqua, New York, and decided which emails the American public was going to get and which emails were personal and which ones they would totally erase. Well, first of all, they don't have that right. But for Jen Psaki and the White House, and really, does this not bother you as an American citizen? Does it not bother you to know where things are? And how come someone, anyone, especially the likes of Hillary Clinton, that should be forthright with any and all information if she decides to finally run for the presidency, to provide all the information necessary that by law is required of her? That's required of her to have signed the statement. Where is it? And after 2 weeks, somebody from the White House gives the press corps this lame, absolutely feeble lie of, well, we're still looking for it. I am so frustrated with the lying and the cheating and the absolute low-life attitude of politics today in our country. This is one of the things that I am going to ask and demand that Senator Mike Crapo tomorrow when he calls in at 8:30 personally checks on and gets back to me. I'm one of his constituents. You are too. Why things are done in such a sloppy, shoddy manner? I don't think she signed it. I honestly don't think she signed that release memo for the State Department. I don't think they've got it. I don't think that she, of all people, thinks that she should be like the common folk that work for anybody. I think she absolutely thinks she's totally above the law, rules, and regulations because she is Hillary Clinton. What are your thoughts? Give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, next hour, we're going to be talking to the folks over at Dot Foods regarding an Idaho Department of Labor job fair that's coming up this Thursday, the 19th. Man, it's going to be a really great deal because Dot Foods is looking for some really good people. They're looking for drivers, full-time, part-time, team drivers, transfer drivers that are looking for more warehouse people, full-time and part-time. I'm telling you, at this job fair at the Idaho Department of Labor this Thursday, Dot Foods is growing and they're hiring and they need more people in the community to work for them. That's it, plain and simple. Really good folks, great packages of benefits for you and everything else. You better check it out. Thursday, March 19th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Idaho Department of Labor, 127 West, 5th North in Burley. Starting at 4 to 6 p.m. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Deb. I'm like you. I'm getting really frustrated at people in Washington thinking they are far above and beyond me when they don't have to really, literally, physically work every day. There are some that work for our best interest. And there are some that just think they can just have whatever they want because they're there and they got the power to get it.
You know, Riley, my granddad had a saying, and it really is true. And I've said this before on my program, and I think if you think about it, you'll admit that it's probably very true. My granddad always used to say to us kids when we were little, just remember, you are no better than anyone else, but nobody is better than you.
I agree very much.
And when you think about it, that puts us all on an even keel of respect. And that's something that we don't have in politics today because these people that are in politics seem to think they're above the laws and above the rules, don't they?
Yes, they don't have they have no respect for the voter. They have no respect for the person that's out in the field with the tractor or in the office making sure that the paperwork gets done to push the loan through so the farmer can farmer in the summer, you know? They don't have the respect for the general population. It's what they want, where they're at, right when they want it.
Yeah.
And that's the way it seems like, you know, and I shouldn't generalize everybody back there, but for the most part, I feel that it is most of the people in Washington, D.C., in the Capitol building.
And for the most part, I would say that I think that I don't know what it is, what word I'm searching for, but the bond that all of a sudden ties them into this lunacy thinking of the Potomac. I am now a big star politically, and I am above the rules, I am above the regulations, and the Clintons are the worst offenders.
Yes, they are.
Riley,
I don't understand how come she just can't go disappear, crawl underneath the rock where she came from.
Well, I'm not going to go to that extreme, but I am going to say that she absolutely, it's crazy to me how you can be the Secretary of State, Riley, how you can be the head of that department, how you can be one of the most powerful people in the world and not sign the forms that are necessary for that department. Are you kidding me?
I agree with what you're thinking, that she didn't even do it to begin with. Why should she have to? She's a Clinton.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Have a good day. This just blows my mind why people think they are above the law. Big tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and serving is the correct word to use because service reigns supreme at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. 7 locations. Convenient credit for tires and services. Best tire value promise in the industry. And I'm telling you, they really have some great buys. You better stop in and see about the tires you need for your vehicle, like the passenger car tire, the Eclipse, all-season traction, advanced tread design. Ooh, great low price. You stop in and check them out today. Or for your SUVs, your pickups, your horse trailers, boat trailers, everything. They've got all the tires you need. Stop in today and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All right, coming up next hour, we've got some folks over to Dot Foods. They're going to be telling us, it's either going to be Anthony or Terry, and they're going to be telling us about that job fair that's coming up this Thursday. Dot Foods really expanding some employment opportunities. We're going to have them on the air. And then at 9:30, one of my favorite people, and that's Bert Stevenson, former state representative and on the water board. There is no one that knows water better than Bert. We're going to be back in 6 minutes. Don't go away. Oh, my dreary day, but we'll try to put a smile on our face. Good morning. Hour number 2. Okay, Damon, you can turn the music down now. Yo! Damon, attaboy. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida and Rupert, everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Don't forget, give them a call, get on the route service, and they will be there. Dependable as can be. Let me tell you, locally owned and operated, and that's Western Waste Services. Get on the route service, get rid of your garbage, get a dumpster, clean out the basement, the garage, whatever. My goodness, fill it up and call them and say, help, and they'll be there. Locally owned and operated by people that care. Give them a call, 734-6969. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Absolutely. Also, I want to say thank you very much to some folks that are so nice and so helpful to people in the community, and that's Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, with Joel Heward, the manager, his family and staff, always serving you with family attention. And they can travel to rural towns and churches to help you with all the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved loved one. And don't forget, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. They really are the professionals and so friendly. Please give them a call, 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, serving you and your family. Let's go to the phone lines. And I believe who do we have on the air this morning? This is kind of like with the old What's My Line? Do we have Anthony or Terry on the phone this morning?
We have Anthony, sir.
We have Anthony. All right, Damon, thank you very much. Anthony, how are you over at Dot Foods? Tell us a great big morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you?
Well, if I was any better, the wrong fat man be wearing my clothes. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Now, tell us a little bit about you, Anthony. What is your position? What do you do over there at Dot Foods?
My position is a general manager over here at Dot. I've been with Dot for almost 7 years now. And really, I guess what I do is make sure that I'm supporting my team in the right way.
You know, you just said a key word right there, team. I love that concept. I love that attitude. And of all the people and all the events that are going on and things that I've advertised for Dot Foods, I've really got that concept of team. Is it really like that over there?
Zeb, it is. We're, we have a very family-oriented culture, and we work hard to make sure that everybody understands that they're part of a team and a family.
Okay. Now, what about Dot Foods? A lot of people don't know what it is. I was surprised the other day. I was at a meeting and mentioned Dot Foods, and they kind of looked at me a little vague. How come the word's not out how great you folks really are?
I think what it is a lot of people don't understand the concept of redistribution. It's not a big concept in the supply chain across the nation, but what we do is we help suppliers with moving freight, essentially.
Okay. Now, basically, is it kind of and I don't want to cheapen it up in any way in my verbiage, but are you kind of a depot that helps distribute food to other places and other sources and other outlets? Is that right?
We are. What we do is we'll service distribution centers such as FSA, Cisco's. What we do is we go to the manufacturers will come to us and ask us for help with moving typically less than truckload freight. What we do is we'll buy it in large quantities, and we'll help support the distribution center so that they don't have to order the full truckloads.
Man, oh man, now right there, that opens the door for a lot of conversation. You must have some outstanding people that really know the A through Z on ordering and getting everything shipped in.
We do. We have experts in almost every field. Like I said before, we do have a great team.
Well, now, give us a little background. I understand you've got a great location out there on the outer edge of Burley. What would you say, on the western outer edge? Is that how you define yourself?
Yeah, it would be on the southwestern side of town.
Okay. Now, you're growing, expanding, and what's going on Thursday, March 19th, at the Idaho Department of Labor?
We are hosting a job fair on Thursday the 19th, and really we're looking for probably three primary roles. We're looking for warehouse order selectors, both full-time and part-time, and we are looking for drivers or customer delivery specialists, both with freight touches and without freight touches. And then we're looking for a part-time garage tech.
Mm-hmm. And where do they go and how do they apply? Because I love hearing about job opportunities. I love hearing about opportunities that are with a great company like Dot. So tell us a little bit more about what they can expect at the Idaho Department of Labor.
Okay, what they can expect is basically to get a face-to-face to get an understanding of what the jobs are that we're looking to fill, as well as have an opportunity to talk with a few of our team members and to understand the benefits and the wages.
Okay, and I want to go back to something you said at the beginning of our conversation, the team attitude. I mean, when you look to hire somebody, you are looking for someone that's going to be there over the long haul, correct?
That is true, yes. Like I said before, we feel we're a family, and you never want to lose a family member.
Absolutely. May I interrupt right here and give you a compliment? And Anthony, I want you to carry this compliment to the drivers of Dot Foods that go by my place on Highway 30. They are the most polite drivers and adhere to the speed limit better than anyone, and I think they should be acknowledged as really being very, very cautionary about what's going on around them and also adhering to the rules and regs. They're excellent people.
Well, thank you, Zeb. We get that compliment a lot, and I will make sure that I pass it on to our team.
Okay, you're growing and you're hiring more people. Dot Foods is expanding. Now, I see here in the notes that you had a 12% increase in volume over 2014. In your line of work, how do you go about increasing volume? I mean, is it all because people are eating more? I mean, give us an explanation, if you would, please, on your increase in the size of Dot Foods.
Well, really, it's probably based on two things. The first is the quality that we deliver to our customers. When we meet their expectations in terms of quality, we're typically rewarded with extra pounds. And probably the second is our business development group adding manufacturers to our listing, which adds more product offerings.
I see. So there you are as one of the managers over there, and I want you to really amplify the type of people that you're looking for to come to this job fair, and I believe it's going to be from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Idaho Department of Labor on this Thursday night, right?
That is correct, yes. And what we're looking for, Zeb, is we're looking for good, honest, hard-working folks with a good work background and that are looking for a home.
Well, I just really want to compliment you folks. I love to hear success stories. And by the way, Anthony, how many years have you been with Dot Foods?
I have been with Dot Foods almost 7 years.
Oh, my.
It'll be 7 years in May.
Wow, you're an old-timer.
Out here I am, yes.
Okay. Well, we've been telling everybody about this job fair and about the success of Dot Foods and looking for more really good people, and we'll certainly send them over. Now, the Idaho Department of Labor, give us the exact location and time that everybody should be there to put in an application.
Okay, Zeb, the Idaho Department of Labor is located, I guess it would be just west of Burger King.
Okay. The exact street address, I have it. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Is 127th West, 5th Street North. Pardon me for doing that. I thought you had that in front of you. I apologize.
Nope, I didn't. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Really, it'll be, the job fair is open from 4 to 6, as you stated before, and really any time between that window would be acceptable. Ideally would be that any candidates, anybody that wants to be interviewed that day, to have an application through our Dot Foods website prior.
Okay.
And if for some reason, Zeb, the folks that want to attend are not able to attend during that time, we will also be located on the 26th of March at the CSI Mini Casia Center, and we will be doing interviews there as well.
Oh, well, I'm glad you told me that, and I appreciate it. Anthony, you did a doggone good job this morning, and I appreciate it. On behalf of Dot Foods, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, Zeb. I appreciate it.
All right, sir. Have a great day. Thank you very much.
You too.
There you go. Lots of job opportunities at Dot Foods. They're growing and they're hiring, and it's good to hear about their success stories. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And I'd like to hear, we'll talk about anything this morning. Did you hear, earlier this week, I was talking about the Lancaster, Pennsylvania Redskins. It's a high school team, and their mascot is the Redskins, and they've been that for decades and decades. And did you hear that other schools were forced and coerced by outside interests to challenge whether or not Lancaster could keep the mascot Redskins? And political correctness, some of the schools were pressured into saying, okay, if you keep the mascot name, we're not going to play you, we're not going to let you stay in our conference. I mean, it was absolutely pathetic. And you know what? Finally, last night, the Lancaster Redskins, they got together with their moms and dads, and they got together with their coaches, and they got together with the school board, and they threw their hands up in the air, and they said, you know, We can't beat these people. We can't beat the loony left. We can't beat the PC crowd. And they gave up the fight, and they're going to get rid of a mascot that has been around from their father's generation, their grandfather's generation, and they're going to give it up to political correctness. And one of the names that was bandied around last night that they might change their mascot to, and I had to snicker because it's so absolutely ridiculous, the Lancaster Turtles. Oh, boy! Can you imagine lining up in the locker room to go out and hit the football field? We're the Turtles! Yeah, right. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you my own little story about political correctness on that when I was in high school. Okay, we'll stand by for that just a minute. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, don't forget every morning at 8:06 when we start the program, we have the weather with Michael Rogers, and it's brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. The number to call is 678-6945. Look for the blue door, and they're open Mondays through Fridays 9 to 6, Saturdays 10 to 4. Carpet, flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. When I was in high school my freshman year, the Fort Atkinson Cardinals, that was the school name. And I've said this story before on the air. You're probably sick of hearing it. I might have mentioned it more than once. But the Fort Atkinson Cardinals was the name of our high school team. And we were and also ran in the field of competition with football and baseball and basketball and the Cardinals. There wasn't much enthusiasm, if you will, when I was a freshman in high school. It was just kind of show up, get beat, go home. Well, in my sophomore year, there was a major push. Fort Atkinson really was a fort back in the early 1800s. And the General Atkinson was the general stationed at Fort Atkinson and fought the Chief Blackhawk Indian tribe in the Blackhawk Indian Wars along the Rock River from Wisconsin all the way down into Illinois. And the Blackhawk Indian tribe was ferocious, and they were known as superior fighters, and they were known as an excellent Indian tribe, very articulate, very smart, and it was an honor for our high school to consider becoming the Fort Blackhawks. And when they changed the logo on the basketball floor, I'll never forget this at all, when they had Mr. Hamer and they had the other people in charge of painting the basketball floor with the new logo in commemoration of the Blackhawks. We had a class assembly, and we filled the gym up as they took the tarp off the new logo on the basketball court with the Chief Blackhawk. Holy cow, I'll never forget the look of awe and the look of pride and the look of honor on everybody's faces, including my own. We got away from a silly bird, a cardinal. Woo! Wow, that'll make you get up and really tackle somebody. And we went to the honoring of Chief Blackhawk. And there it was on that basketball floor, and then it was all on our football helmets and everything else, and there was a new feeling of pride. There was a new feeling of, yes, we can, instead of, now we can't beat them. And our whole school changed its attitude. I mean, kids started going to games, and parents started going to games, and at home they filled the gym. The Fort Blackhawks, and the mascot, and the fight song, and everything else. It was absolutely phenomenal. It turned the whole attitude of the school around to the plus side. And our whole demeanor changed on the field and on the court. We did something we hadn't done for years in Fort Atkinson. We started winning games. We started to be competitive. We started to win and be a conference threat, and we did become conference champions. And we did win and go to state because there was a new feeling of camaraderie there at the school, a new feeling of pride. And now the pressure is on by the PC crowd to take that name away and possibly revert back to the Cardinals. And in this case in Lancaster with the Redskins, oh boy, that'll make you really feel like going out and tackling somebody or going out and scoring 30 points or going out and trying to win a baseball game. Here come the Turtles! Ay, ay, ay. Give me your calls. 436. Hurry, I want to hear what your thoughts are on this before I go to the next segment. So give me a call real fast. I'll do some commercials as I wait for your call. Don't forget Let's Ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn and snow check time. Yep, if you want a brand new snow machine and all you have to do is go in there to Let's Ride, give them $500 down and get your snow machine built to your custom specifications during the 2016 snow check. Well, get in there today. And also, while you're there, check on the Can-Am ATV side-by-sides. They got rebates for this year. And also, I noticed that Let's Ride is looking for another great qualified mechanic. There's a job opening over there. And they're located on 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn. Number to call, 436-4771. Let's Ride. Absolutely where the fun is sold. Give me your thoughts on political correctness with names. We've already seen it hit the college ranks. Now it's hitting the high school ranks. It's already changed and altered names and mascots at schools here in the state of Idaho and many, many schools across the country. And these people are not going to be happy until they get their way and everybody possibly becomes the Turtles. It's absolutely ridiculous. Give me your thoughts. Come on, get on the phone. When you think about life insurance, think about Cameron and Siemens Insurance. When you think about health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, they are there to serve you at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call for an appointment, 436-4424. Dean and Todd, very accessible and devoted to serving you. Give them a call, 436-4424, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, serving you and your family. Okay. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Why are we kowtowing to political correctness? I will give you, and I've said this before also, I'll give you an example of a major university that will never kowtow, in my opinion, ever, to the political correctness of getting rid of their school mascot. And that will be the Florida State Seminoles. There never will be a time that you are going to see or hear the Seminole Indian tribe say, oh yeah, you got to change it. Oh yeah, we're offended. Oh yeah, you can't have that anymore. You can become the Florida State Turtles. It's never going to happen. Why? Because the Seminole Indian tribe makes too much money off of it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Deb. It's me again. You know, a part of having a name for a team, a unit, a group of people, any kind of thing, whether it be sport or a conflict or anything, is to strike fear, to strike any advantage you can get over your teammate. You know, whether it be a name or a history. You know, if you go up against somebody else in a football game and you know they were the state champs for the last 2 years of running, you kind of get that feeling deep down inside. You know, you don't give up, but you know they're tough. Going up against someone called the Turtles just doesn't make me worry too off the punch.
No, I'm telling you, man, the fear of the good Lord would be in their hearts, stricken in their hearts with the terminology, wow, look out, Bert and Ernie, we're going to play the Turtles this weekend. Woo!
And the other comment I have about this whole name thing is I have never once heard anybody name a team after somebody that they wanted to mock.
That's right.
You don't mock somebody if you call them, if you put them as a team mascot. You have to have their silly little mascot outfit. But you know what? They're holding them up and revering these people for their tenacity and their willingness to fight to the bitter end and to never give up, never say never.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you something, a little bit more about the history of Chief Blackhawk along the Rock River in Wisconsin and Illinois. I mean, he was an adversary that the cavalry and General Atkinson and many others, they just couldn't whoop the guy because he was absolutely a very smart cookie, and he knew how to fight, he knew how to win, and I see nothing wrong with what our high school did in accepting the Blackhawk name. It was in total honor and pride.
I think they all are. Every school, every sporting club, whatever, that is using, say, the Fighting Sioux or the Blackhawk or the, whoever it may be, the Blackfeet, whatever.
Yeah.
They are using it as out of pride to represent these individuals at a time when they fought knowing that there was no way they were really going to win, but they fought anyway because they were not about to give up. They were not about to give in.
You know what a turtle does when he's in danger? He just climbs underneath his shell. Boy, that's a real fighting attitude. That'll win you a lot of games. Riley, thank you very much for your call. I got to run.
Jim, most welcome.
Thank you. Oh, boy, here come the fighting turtles. Whoop, where'd they go? Well, they're hiding under their shell over there. Yeah, we saw them a minute ago. There they go. Yeah, they're just creeping across the floor. Don't forget Mad River Laser. Hello, Nicole. How are you and Alex and the whole crew over there? They've got buck knives, and they're 10% off. And you can get free engraving on your buck knives right now at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Oh, and by the way, too, I want to stress the fact that employee recognition, for like Employee of the Month awards or Employee of the Year or whatever, there is nothing nicer, and there's nothing that gives a bigger and better commitment from your employee to you than to honor them with some awards. And boy, they've got excellent plaques and everything else over at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. Stop over and see the wonderful things they can do at Mad River Laser, okay? Or give them a call at 436-2293. Right now, we're going to get on the phone line, and I am honored to have this man as one of my friends, and that's, of course, former representative for the state of Idaho, Mr. Bert Stevenson. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Zeb, I'm really well. The only way I could be better would be as if it was raining out there.
I knew that your conversation would turn to water. Before I let you get into the water, per se, I want you to kind of describe a little bit, what is the appointment that Governor Butch Otter made of you for the Water Board? What is your title, and what do you do for the state of Idaho?
Well, I'm one of 8 members on the State Water Board. Our position is not to manage the daily use of water. The water administration, that's the Department of Water Resources does that. The Water Board is to develop a state water plan, which they've had several of them over the years. We just completed one 2 years ago. But it's also to try and find ways that we can enhance the water, and the governor has, one of his challenges has been to make it sustainable. Now, from Magic Valley, Vince Alberti is also on the water board, along with Roger Chase from Pocatello, Jeff Raybould from Eastern Idaho. We have a new member from North Idaho, Dave Van Stone, and Al Barker is on from the Boise area. Mm-hmm. Pete Vandermeulen is on from Wood River Valley.
Now, let me ask you this, Bert. When you have, I'm assuming you have like monthly meetings, and does everybody kind of prepare a report for their respective area to kind of give the good, the bad, and the ugly regarding water? What do you do at these meetings?
Well, Zeb, at the water board meetings, and we meet as a full board every other month.
I see.
We'll I'll meet this week in Boise on Thursday and Friday, and we'll review what's happened. And then within the Water Board, we have subcommittees. One is stream flow enhancements. Another one is water planning, which try to develop new long-range plans. One of the things we're working on now is the Galloway Dam, enlarging of the Arrow Rock Dam, and enlarging the Island Park Reservoir.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the things, and then the other subcommittees broke down for various things.
Is there ever a time when the Water Board, right now, we got to be really careful about water and its usage. Do you as a Water Board make recommendations to the governor and say, wait a minute, this area is really hurting, or this community is better watch out a little bit on the water that's being used, etc.? I mean, do you make recommendations every meeting as to the good and the bad at what needs to be done?
Well, we make recommendations. One of the projects we just completed is acquiring some water rights for the Mountain Home Air Force Base.
I see.
And those water rights will be held in the name of the State Water Board.
Okay. Now, we have a caller with a question, Bert, for you. So, caller, I'm going to ask you, please, to keep it short and concise. Go ahead, please.
I was wondering how many new reservoirs they have planned.
All right, we'll ask him that on the air. Bert, you and I want to be honest and tell the caller and everybody else that last night you and your lovely bride came over and visited at my house, and that's one of the things we talked about is possibly more storage for water in the state of Idaho. And tell us a little bit about what the conversation was. What are the problems with trying to create more storage?
Well, Zeb, one of the problems is the thinking of the environmental community is we don't need to have any more storage. All we want is people to conserve water. Well, everybody's conserving water to the best of their ability. Now, new technology comes along and we're able to conserve more, but we're not going to ever solve our problem and be able to manage the growth of the state without new storage. So we're in the process and doing a study on the feasibility of the Galloway Dam, which is on the Weiser River. This is one that it's not unusual to have flooding on that river, but with and then find the money to build it is one of the other real challenges. We're studying now the increasing of the Arrow Rock Dam, and that will take care of the Boise River, and that will help in that area and to some degree increase the safety of the Boise Valley there, the Fraser Valley.
Let me ask you this, Bert, and pardon my naivete on this issue because you've forgotten more about this issue than I'll ever know. But when you talk about the environmentalists trying to stop and put the kibosh on water storage, to me, that is absolutely insane. You would think that the environmentalists would see the value in water storage as far as a saved instead of a wasted product. Why in the world would they want to be against it?
Well, Zeb, for some reason we think that, and up and down this whole Snake River system, we have reservoirs that people use all summer for recreation. But you have your Trout Unlimited, and these people who feel like that it's a crime to have anything more than a natural free-flowing river. And they say that it harms the fish, or that God didn't intend it to be, and we want to go back there. I don't have any desire to go back and live in a teepee either.
Well, I don't mean this out of any disrespect, but please do not put on your breechcloth this morning and go to Boise, okay?
You know what a terrible sign that would be.
Bert, seriously now, in regards to the municipalities in the state of Idaho, do people in town know how dangerous and precarious our water situation is?
They are starting to realize this when we have received the water calls that we have over the last few years, and the letter goes out to the cities with their water rights that they may have water rights curtailed. they have become really concerned of, particularly in the eastern Snake Plain aquifer, because of the aquifer declining. And so they have stepped up and they're starting to do some recharge projects that they want to participate in. In the Upper Valley, the Association of Cities up there, or a group of cities up there, I should say, not the association, but the group of cities up there, have met with us trying to find out ways that they could help to increase it. And most of those will have to come from the city council. They'll have to make some hard decisions, how much water, and when new business comes in, how much water is it going to take, and do they have the water to meet those needs?
Well, see, right there, you brought me to my next question for you. I mean, aren't we looking and living at a catch-22? We want to draw more business into the state of Idaho. We want to be very progressive. We want to have bigger schools. We want to have better education. But if we can't supply them the opportunity of having their business locate here because we're at a shortage of water, what do we do?
Well, that's going to be the hard question going forward. Is what, if you're bringing in a new business, what is your water demand, and where are you going to get it from? Now, one of the places that you're going to see cities and other places come along and where they will buy some water rights, and this will take agriculture out of production. But if it's a business that depends on milk, for instance, Zeb, how are we going to feed the cows that require the milk to take care of the business?
Absolutely. Now, yesterday when you were here, you brought me a map, and it really was enlightening to me to learn about where the water is and where it isn't. And this map shows that basically, I think on an average, we're really down on available water for irrigation in the state of Idaho, are we not?
Zeb, that's the mountain snow water equivalent map. Remember that is a 30-year median.
I see.
And so what it shows us there, that we are below where we are historically over the past 30 years. Mm-hmm. The only areas that look really good is the Palisade above, or the Snake River above Palisades. And the interesting one on that map, Zeb, is the Raft River shows 116% of normal. Remember, in the last 30 years, how many winters you drove through the Raft River Valley, and there was no snow at all.
Right.
So that average is kind of a depicting. The one that really concerns me is the Owyhee over there. And the Weiser area, they're only 33% of the Owyhee is only 24% of the normal. Now, those people they realize right now, and even this goes over into eastern Oregon, there are concerns over there now that some of those people will not have enough water to finish a beet crop, and eastern Oregon has historically grown quite a few beets over in there. They used to have a plant over there, in fact.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But they have done that, and now they're concerned this year whether they'll have water enough to do that. Some of them feel like that. Another one that we have some concern with is the Wood River Valley. They received a water call up there, and so that will eventually have to be worked through, and those people are getting organized now to how to mitigate for those shortages up there.
Bert, what would happen, okay, we're looking at March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, and basically a lot of the calendars say that we're not going to get a lot of snow, if any, left for this year, and hopefully depend on a rainy season in the spring. Will a very wet spring help alleviate some of these problems or not?
It will, Zeb, and historically, we get a good share of our snow in February and March. Now, we haven't this year. We haven't had any snow in March, but that's historically where we get a good share of our snow. But you remember here a couple of years ago, we had a really wet May and June, mm-hmm. and that takes a lot of the pressure off there. Last year, the rains came in July and August and left us with our reservoirs in really good shape going into this water year. The water year starts October 30th.
Okay. Bert, when you look at the businesses that are here in the Magic Valley, you look at the various cities and communities that are welcoming in rather large businesses to share in the growth of Idaho, etc., you must be really concerned that all of a sudden somebody might pull the cork and say, I'm sorry, but there's not enough water for you to continue business. Is that an underlying fear of everybody on the water board?
Well, it is, Zeb, and the thing that we worry about is the cities, bless their hearts, are out there trying to develop new businesses and encouraging new businesses to come. They just had the groundbreaking for Cliff Bar this past week, and those are great opportunities. I have no idea how much water Cliff Bar is going to use, but I do know that they need some. And the cities are going to have to concentrate on those areas that or those businesses that require less water.
Let me ask you this question, and Bert, I just really kind of have an animosity against the federal government and their takings for the flushing of the salmon and other purposes. If we didn't have that forced taking of our water, what would be the status in favor or in con of what we have? I mean, how much more water would we have for the state if we didn't have to flush it down the Columbia River?
Zeb, I think well, I'm going to be careful with numbers. It's a tremendous amount of water we flush down the river every year for the flushing of the salmon. And the federal government takes it. This is one of the really bright things about the Galloway Dam is we get a little water there that could be used down here. It wouldn't replace it, and there are people in that valley that need more water. So we have to be careful that we don't, and those people don't feel like that they're picking up the burden for us. But we have to manage the state's water as a state rather than individuals.
When you say that, we always have people yelling like Harry Reid out of Nevada and Los Angeles and other large metropolitan areas saying, we need more water, we'll take it from you. What are the fears that more of Idaho's water will be taken for metropolitan uses 600-700 miles away?
Zeb, we think our statutes are pretty clear as far as going to other states. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the city of Las Vegas now is in a court battle with western Utah on that aquifer. They want to put in and pump from the aquifer on the Nevada side, and the Utah people feel like it'll drain their aquifer to where they don't have any water. And the tragedy of that thing is money usually is the one that wins.
No, that's unfortunately the truth. But let me also ask you about our neighboring states. In this particular case, Wyoming. But before I ask that question, we have another caller, and we're down to about 4 minutes left in this segment. Caller, go ahead, please, quickly.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering why they can't just tell the EPA that they're going to do what they want to do, because the EPA made up their rules, and none of those rules were voted on by Congress.
All right, I'll have him answer that over the phone. Bert, that gentleman seems to share the same attitude I have towards the EPA. They're nothing more than a mafia and also thugs. What are your thoughts about just basically thumbing your nose at the EPA and telling them to get out of Dodge City?
We have suggested that. But remember that the reservoirs in Idaho, the bulk of them on the Snake River, are controlled by contracts with the Bureau of Reclamation. We have fought these things and spent billions of dollars in the court system trying to justify why we don't have to do that.
Okay.
But and we live in a state where we believe in the rule of law, and once the courts make a ruling, whether we like it or whether we don't, and most of these we don't like, that we live with.
Bert, let me ask you this. What about our neighboring states, in particular Wyoming with the Palisades Dam, etc.? Is there an ongoing or worry that possibly Wyoming might try to take some of the water or hold some of the water out of Palisades for their own state? Or do you have ongoing negotiations with them? What's the status with other states?
Zeb, most of those have been secured with contracts with those states when these dams were originally put in. Now there is one of the things that we're doing up there that has enhanced our water supply is cloud seeding, and it's proved what we can gain is about 10%. Here again, it depends on the kind of weather we have and the clouds that come in. But when we seed those clouds, we anticipate we get about 10% more than without seeding.
All right. Now, let me ask you this. I've kind of hoarded the conversation to the point where I've asked a lot of questions. But what about you, Bert? Is there anything else you want to tell the audience this morning about the State Water Board and what you're doing and what your worries are?
Well, Zeb, I'm going to speak for myself now, not particularly the Water Board. I am concerned, as dry as this spring is, that we're going to turn on. Twin Falls Canal Company will start charging their canals the 1st of November. And thank heavens Twin Falls people, Zeb, have done us a tremendous favor by helping us recharge all winter, the aquifer. This is water that would have just flowed out of the state. And along with the other canal companies that have helped with recharge. My concern is that as dry as it is, we're going to start using water earlier. That will cause us to start drafting the reservoirs earlier, and we need to be really careful. I get concerned when I see people, as wet as it was last July and August, and some people never ever turn their water off, say, well, we'll put it in the ground. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that it never gets to where it needs to be, running it through the fields like that.
Absolutely.
And I think we're going to have to be just as miserly with our water this year as we've ever been. And the canal companies, I hope they will keep their people appraised as to how much of their storage water they have left.
Absolutely. Bert, you are a blessing to have on the program because of your vast knowledge on this issue and everything you did as a former state representative for the state of Idaho. Mr. Bert Stevenson, a dear, dear friend, thank you for taking the time to come on the show this morning.
Jeb, thank you for the privilege, and I'm lucky to live in a magic valley.
All right, we both are. God bless you, and say hello to Elaine, and thank you again for all your kindness. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Take care. Thank you. There's a man that I have the utmost respect for, and you ever have friends that honestly you would go to the wall and fight for them anytime, anywhere, and that's how I feel about him. Bert Stevenson and Elaine, just really nice people, and as I said, he's on the State Water Board, and he knows all about water. Thank you very much. Holy smokes, I've got to get the weather forecast in here. And the weather is brought to you by Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center at 382 North Overland in Burley. Minor emergencies, major care. You know what? Your health is their number one priority. They understand that being sick or hurt, it isn't convenient at all, and they do their best to make your health care convenient for you. Please remember that they are there for you at Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 382 North Overland in Burley. The number to call, 678-6996. 678-6996. They will see you today. Here now is Michael Rogers Weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers for Zeb at the Ranch. So you got showered today. To carry over until tonight, well, you're going to come out of it tomorrow. It's going to be nice. It's going to be really nice and sunny. So we just get through today. Got a nice day for tomorrow, and it'll take you all the way into the weekend. Daytime highs in the 60s for today, 40s for the overnight low. Don't forget, you should hit 71 by Saturday. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the weather. See what you got.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Sounds like a good weather forecast for this weekend, and it's brought to you by Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center at 678-6996. They're located right there at 382 North Overland in Burley. Minor emergency, major care. They will see you today. Nice people, too. Oh, my. Let's see. Let's get some calls in here. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It's you guys and gals, this is a repulsive story. This is really repulsive, but there's idiots in every town all across America. But I believe it was in South Carolina, and I'll stand corrected if it's not the right state. But I was listening to the news this morning and shaving, and all of a sudden I thought, what? There's a naked guy that stands in front of his window every single day. Why? A guy with no clothes on standing there in front of his window every single day. He's done this for over 10 years. And the neighbors have complained, rightfully so. The community has complained, rightfully so. But nobody can do anything about it because it's on his property, in his house, in his domicile, and it's really repulsive. But why in the world? Does this guy ever go to work? I'd like to know what he did for a living. And why? I mean, he just stands there in the window. Unfortunately, it's a full-length window. And he stands there naked for all the world and the neighbors to see. And has done this, like I said, for a decade. Ay. When the guy goes out to get the mail, you would think that somebody would kind of give him a real short lesson in appropriate behavior. In other words, a personality adjustment. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I could give him a real quick personality adjustment with my pellet gun.
Okay. I know.
Give him an adjustment.
I know. Let's leave that subject alone. Thank you, sir, for your call. I appreciate it. You know, it brings to mind maybe birdshot or something out of the shotgun. I just don't understand why anyone, and I can't say that he's in his right mind, because obviously he's not, is seeking attention? Anyway, it's a problem. And there's more of these kooks that live in various communities all around the country. I just don't understand. There was a guy, where was it? In Texas someplace here about 5-6 years ago. Every day at exactly noon he walked out to the mailbox, all natural, to get the mail and then walk back in. And he had it timed perfectly so that it would be during the lunch hour, and there was a whole bunch of traffic driving. Why? Oh, my. Oh, I bet you Streamline Precision is going to be real tickled that I'm running their ad after that story. Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley, next to Dot Foods. Oh, my, these are great people. Call Tim for estimates at 431-7314. Well, what do they do? I'll tell you. They've got vast experience in industrial development that includes dairies and feedlots and food processing and other agricultural applications. They can build your grain bins for on-the-farm storage. They can take care of all your cement needs for mangers and feed alleys. My goodness, they're good. And they're also right now building the brand new Funk Dairy over here in Murtaugh. Yes, sir. You call Tim today at 431-7314. Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley. They are the professionals. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. I think there's one cure for this guy. I think at noon when he comes out every day, there should be 100 people out there with their cameras taking pictures, and all these pictures go in the local newspapers every single day.
I don't think it would deter a crackpot like this. As a matter of fact, it might even enhance him to do it more, and I certainly would hope not. But, I mean, how would you like to be the Chamber of Commerce showing off your great city, and then you got this Nimrod standing there?
Well, the way things are going today, I think he might have a career in Hollywood.
Or maybe with the Obama administration, one of the two. Anyway, Tony, I appreciate you. Hey, by the way, you made it home safely last night, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, it didn't get mugged or anything.
Okay, well, good. No, I don't think anyone would attempt mugging you. No, sir. You are an armed flotilla. Thank you. God bless you, man. Thank you. We're going to take a break for about 6 minutes, and then coming up next hour is the one, the only, on St. Patrick's Day. It's Dr. Kenny O'Turner, and he'll be coming up next. Don't go away. Wow. I just learned something from Dr. Turner. I can't believe it. I'll get to that in just a minute. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And then, of course, some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them, get on the route service, 734-6969. And Valley Wine Home and Ranch. Hello, here a chick, there a chick, everywhere a chick. Wrong chick. And those chick days are going on at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. We're going to have our guest and Dr. History in just a moment. Don't forget at the Chadwick Sports Grill. What is today? Tuesday? They're going to have beef and Guinness stew for St. Patty's Day. Served over mashed potatoes with Irish soda bread. What is Irish soda bread? That sounds delicious. And super salad. Ooh, beef and Guinness stew for St. Patrick's Day today at the Chadwick Sports Grill. The wearing of the green at Chadwick's. Where's your green, by the way, Doc? Today's St. Patrick's Day. What's going on? How come you can't get in the flow of things?
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, I'll take your apology. Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. It is St. Patrick's Day, and do you have any Irish in you at all?
No Irish, just English.
English.
Yeah.
You're always, you English people think you're just so much better than the rest of us.
Well, we are, you know.
You've got your little bitty fingers stuck up in the air all the time.
Drinking tea.
Yeah. Anyway, don't worry about, and one thing too, you probably heard me earlier, Dr. History, the job fair that's going on at, of course, my goodness, I lost my sheet. Oh, hang on. This is embarrassing. Here it is, and it's going to be Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Idaho Department of Labor at 127 West 5th Street North in Burley. Dot Foods hiring more people for drivers and also for the warehouse. And Dot Foods is growing and they're hiring more people. We talked to Anthony last hour. This is a great opportunity on Thursday to get an application in for some great employment at Dot Foods. Check with the Idaho Department of Labor on Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. in Burley. You be sure and don't miss this special event. And now, without further ado, it's time for Minnicash's Sales at 1321 East Main in Burley to bring you Dr. History that's making a whole bunch of noise in the background. And Minnicash's Sales is brought to you and is located at 1321 East Main in Burley, right across from the airport. The very best of doors and lumber and vinyl and metal siding and countertops and Tartar Farm and Ranch equipment. Zach and Joanne and the whole crew are just absolutely phenomenal people. They put in my new back door. They're right across from the Burley Airport, Minnicash's Sales. Your turn. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing this morning?
Well, you just are you're a stick in the mud, not wearing green for St. Patrick's Day. What's the matter with you?
Well, this was the only shirt that was clean. Not really.
Your wife is going to kill you.
I had plenty of shirts.
What's your wife's first name? I forgot.
I'm not going to tell you now.
I didn't think
so. But I will say yesterday was our 37th anniversary.
Really?
And my dear wife and I enjoyed eating out a couple of times and just had a nice, pleasant day yesterday.
I got to send her a condolence card.
Yes, that would be appreciated.
37 is all you've been married?
Yeah, we're just rookies.
Well, Deanne and I have been married 43.
Well, you're much older than I am.
Read the book, Ken.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying anymore.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right.
What are we going to talk about today?
Well, how about if we go north to Alaska?
See, last week we robbed a bunch of trains, but we weren't very good at it, and everybody in our gang kept getting shot up.
Yeah, that was a kind of a failure there.
Yeah, that was a failure. Now you're going to tell me to mush Huskies up to Alaska?
We're going to head to Alaska, north to Alaska.
Here we go.
Well, Alaska, of course, is situated in the extreme northwestern part of North America. It's the largest state. It was thought that the name Alaska came from an Eskimo name, which meant great country.
No, it didn't. It came from a guy that was going to ask his girlfriend out. Alaska.
Alaska. Well, the name does come from an Eskimo word, Alaksa.
Oh.
And it means mainland.
I see.
So, of course, Alaska is bordered by the Arctic Ocean, the Bering Sea, the Pacific Ocean, and on the east by the Canadian Yukon Territory. Now, Alaska was discovered actually in 1741 by the guy by the name of Vitus Bering on his second voyage to determine whether Siberia and North America were connected. Mm-hmm. Well, his ship was wrecked on Bering Island, which was named after him, obviously, and he died, but his crew returned to Russia with sea otter pelts. Now, this kind of piqued the Russian interest in Alaska, and for the next 60 years, the Alaskan coast attracted a bunch of Russian fur traders and trappers. Now, these men had only one quest in mind, and that was to get the furs in any way possible. Now, unfortunately, this included stealing from the Aleutian Indians when they wouldn't sell to the Russians, and unfortunately, the Russians didn't stop there. They kidnapped and sometimes enslaved the Aleutian women and men, and on occasion actually killed some of the Aleutian Indians in the process. So, not a pleasant experience for the Aleutian Indians at that time, the Aleuts.
Well, duh.
But anyway, whaling and fishing were important, and the United States became a commercial rival. In 1821, Russia issued a decree that said, you guys can't come into these waters anymore. Well, by 1857, the Russian minister to Washington began hinting that the Tsar would be willing to sell Alaska to the United States, so negotiations began in 1859, and in 1867, a treaty was formed, and the United States purchased Alaska for $7.2 million. Now, many Americans thought that was too much money for this large tract of useless land, and they called it Seward's Folly, after William Seward, the man who negotiated the deal.
I remember him.
Yeah. Well, according to Jack London, gold was discovered as early as 1804 by the Russians in Alaska. Mm-hmm. But London's story in the Atlantic Monthly magazine in 1903 stated that a Russian governor at Sitka, after being shown about 50 small nuggets, discouraged anyone from talking about the find. He was sure that the news would encourage a flood of gold rushers.
Yeah.
Which we know happened.
It did.
It did. Well, in 1880, Joe Juneau, does that name sound familiar?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Dick Harris discovered rich placer deposits in the southeastern coast. Well, by 1881, the gold rush town of Juneau made its appearance on the map along with thousands of miners who inhabited the town. So the Juneau discovery actually was kind of a mildly productive area, however. But when I say mildly, that's everything's in perspective, because by the end of the 19th century, the Juneau mines had actually unearthed over 17 million in gold.
Holy smokes.
Now, back then, 17 million was, a pretty good chunk.
Yeah. Well, isn't it now?
Well, give or take a little.
I mean, are you going to turn it down if somebody stepped up to your door from Publishers Clearinghouse and gave you 17 million?
I think I would say, yeah, thank you very much.
There you go.
So, now, although there were numerous small gold finds before 1892, no event had a greater impact on the later Yukon and Klondike gold rushes than the opening of the Chilkoot Pass. Mm-hmm. In 1879, a group of 20 prospectors attempted to cross the Chilkoot Pass into Alaska, but they were prevented from climbing the trail by the Indians.
Where was the pass?
Right out of Skagway.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've been there. And
is that the one that was carved out, the steps were carved out of the snow and ice?
They called it the Golden Staircase.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll talk about that a little bit in here a second. But the Indians didn't want them coming in there because they had the same fear the Russians did, that it would affect the fur trade.
Absolutely.
So the pass was open to American gold hunters when help came from an unexpected source. The commander of the SS Jamestown, the captain, sent his naval lieutenant to the pass, and there the Indians saw firsthand how a Gatling gun worked.
Uh-oh.
Now, it must have been impressive because in 1880, the Chilkoot Pass was officially open to white men for the first time. Now, I've talked before about the Chilkoot Pass being the Golden Staircase, and a lot of people made money other than mining for gold. This guy dug out a staircase, which I mentioned called the Golden Staircase, and then charged these men to climb the staircase.
Now, when you talk about a staircase, I'm thinking of something that's 12 to 16 steps. What was this dude?
I have a picture of it. I don't know if I have a picture here with me, but I'm going to guess it's...
You said it was, what, a mile?
No, I don't think it's that far. I'm going to guess maybe a third to a half mile.
Holy smokes.
But it's almost a pretty good staircase up.
And what about the other side going down?
That wasn't so bad, because once you got on the other side,
you just got on your butt and slid down.
Yes, and it was more level. But he charged people, and he had a place along the staircase for a person to step out and rest. But if you stepped out and rested, you might wait an hour or 2 hours
to get back in line. You're kidding me.
There was one right after another.
Okay, this is a good place to take a break. Take a break. Step out on the side.
All right.
Here we go. Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main in Burley with Zach and Joanne and the whole crew. Hey, spring remodeling. You're remodeling for spring. I understand you got a bunch of carpet from them and everything.
They did a great job.
Oh, man. You must have all the money with all that carpet and everything. Good heavens. Well, you know what I did? I bought a brand new door from them, and I love that door. I just think it's the greatest thing in the world. Well, they've got vinyl and metal siding and all your carpet needs and your windows and your garage doors. And you know what else, Ken? I know you know because you've got horses and everything. They've got as a distributorship for Tartar Farm and Ranch equipment, all the panels and the cattle handling equipment and the tanks and the waterers and everything. Tartar is absolutely the best. So you be sure and stop over and see them right across from the airport in Burley, 1321 East Main in Burley, Minnecasia Sales. Wonderful people bringing you this wonderful gentleman, he told me to say that, Dr. History.
Okay, so here they get to the top of Chilkoot Pass. Now, that's not the end of the trail. You see, up on the pass was the border into Canada. The Canadian Mounties were making sure you had 2,000 pounds of equipment and gear before they would let you into Canada.
You had to carry this up the staircase?
Yes.
How?
So you made trips. You might carry 50 to 75, maybe 100 pounds per trip. So you would go up the staircase and down the staircase.
That's 10 trips.
At least. Yes.
Okay, but what about your gear on the other side? Did you have somebody standing there watching it?
Okay, that's where the guys learned when to have a good partner. Because what they would do is they would try to get 2 or 3 or 4 guys together. One would stay with all the gear. Another one would stay with the gear on the other end where you dropped it off. And you would go back and forth and back and forth. Otherwise, your stuff would get stolen.
How long did it take you to make one trip?
You know, I don't know that, but I'm guessing it had to be at least 1 day.
To get in line.
Right.
There was that many people.
There was that many headed in. So, but in 1886, miners struck a rich placer field on a branch of what they call 40 Mile River. Mm-hmm. The first interior gold town developed at 40 Mile in Canada, and this was only 25 miles from the border, so not that far.
Wow.
But it was a spectacular, well, not that spectacular of a rich gold site, but there was enough to keep people happy and keep them going. Well, when that looked as it was going to be exhausted, the mining activity shifted 240 miles away to Circle City.
Circle City.
And this is also was the first to look like it was really a gold rush town. The Circle City, they had dance halls, opera house, saloons.
What a St. Patrick's Day they had.
They had a lot of fun. Regular steamboat service actually to the Yukon. They could go that way when the weather was okay.
My.
So anyway, late in 1896, gold was discovered on the Klondike, a tributary of the Upper Yukon in Canada, and it was originally founded by an experienced prospector named Bob Henderson. Well, he told an Indian by the name of Skookum Jim.
You never trust a guy with the name of Skookum.
Skookum Jim. Well, they were camping along this river, and Skookum took his frying pan down to the creek to wash it, and he got the notion that, it might try a little panning in the river. Well, in no time at all, he'd panned about $4 worth of gold. Now, that was considered good in the Yukon, where 10 cents a pan was the norm.
Really?
So
you found $4 worth?
Yeah, just that quick. So At first, many of the old hands at Circle City and 40 Mile, they refused to believe any version of the gold strike because they'd all heard it before. You know, people would always come in and say, hey, I've got this great strike. And
why would people shoot their mouth off?
That's another question. And then when they did, a lot of these people didn't believe it.
Yeah, and then Skookum might not have been found them.
That's right. But anyway, pretty soon, large quantities of gold started showing up in Circle City, and the gold rush was on.
Look out, Skookum caused it.
He did. So it was a slow start to the rush because the rest of the world was even more skeptical than the miners in Circle City. But by July 1897, there were around 4,000 gold rushers in the Klondike, and the real excitement came when 2 steamers arrived in Seattle and San Francisco carrying gold valued at $1,500,000.
Would you go all the way to Alaska on gold underneath the guise of listening to a person by the name of Skookum?
I don't think so. But when those ships arrived in those cities, that was proof enough. The headlines in the newspapers, they said, man, there's gold up there, El Dorado, and some 100,000 men and women started out for the north to reap its riches. Dawson City was the goal, and about 40,000 made it there, and another 10,000 ended up in Alaska.
Holy smokes.
Now, I got to tell you how hard this was. Mining was done at the early California level of technology with a few necessary cold weather twists.
Yeah.
Okay, the bedrock where the gold lay was anywhere between 20 and 200 feet underground.
Whoa.
Now, in order to penetrate the permafrost, miners had to burn out a shaft with wood fires. The back-breaking process of thawing, digging out the dirt, and thawing again finally made it to the bedrock. Now, what they would do, Zeb, is they would chop down a bunch of trees.
Yeah.
Okay? They would make a big fire, maybe, I'm going to say, 20, 30 feet around.
Mm-hmm.
They would burn the wood, and it would thaw the ground maybe a couple of feet. Okay, so then they'd go in, they'd dig that out. Then they'd fill it up with wood again.
Oh, my
Start it on fire. It'd go down another 2 or 3 feet.
Holy
And they would do that gradually down, like, say, 20, and some places it says 200 feet to get down. Now,
they must have got sick of marshmallows and weenies.
Now, I'm guessing when they got so far, maybe it wasn't as frozen. I don't know.
Oh, my God. Well, then what, just a shovel?
Yeah, shovels and picks, you know. But, when they finally got down to bedrock, the gold-bearing gravel had to be then hoisted out of the hole in buckets, and then they would store it in large piles until summer. When the warm weather came, the water needed to process the gravel in pans and sluices. So it was not a lot of fun, but it was profitable.
It had to be cold.
I've told stories before of the gruesomeness of some of those guys that just would get so discouraged they would just call it quits and end their lives.
Oh,
basically.
My goodness sake.
But from 1897 to 1900, $50 million in gold was mined in the Klondike.
Really?
So
all because of Skookum.
Because of Skookum. But with so many gold rushers in the region, it was inevitable that the gold would be discovered somewhere else. Well, the Nome gold rush in Alaska soon followed, and that was along the beaches. And the people would come out along the beach, and when the tide would go out, they'd rush out and actually find gold along the beach. So
that's a lot easier than burning a hole.
Yeah. But, there were claim jumpers. They sought to drive out many of the original miners. Tensions were high in Nome because fighting was the order of the day, basically. But,
just like a bunch of St. Patty's days.
That's right. But by 1900, even though the gold rushers were mining over $2 million a year, a lot of them were leaving Nome just to stay alive.
Oh, my gosh.
Anyway, in 1904, the industrialized mining came to Alaska in the form of dredge mining. Dredges were able to scoop out bedrock gravel and wash it down automatically. And then steam, or hot water, was driven into the ground to defrost the earth, and hydraulic hoses washed away the overlay of soil covering the bedrock. And the first large dredge to be used in mining operations was in Nome. And the 20th century had come to Alaska, and the great gold rushes of North America was over. But I got to show you a picture here, Zeb.
Yeah, everybody at home can see it. Hold it up by the microphone so everybody can see it.
Okay, this is what they call Dead Horse.
Oh, my goodness.
The White Pass.
That's part of the pass?
There was the Golden Staircase, but another route was over what they call White Pass.
In that picture, there's got to be at least 20 dead horses.
Right. And the sad thing about that whole story is how they would take a horse and they would haul their gear in and out, in and out, in and out, until basically the horse
gave out.
Dead. Now, in fact, there's some cases where the horse would be going along a trail and sometimes step off the trail and drop 30, 40, or 100 feet, and some of them claimed the horses were just committing suicide, that they were just...
They'd had it.
Oh,
man.
So...
That's gruesome.
It is. It's kind of a sad part of that whole
all for the lust and the quest of gold.
Yeah. I mean, I look at that picture, and being horse lovers like you and I are, it just kind of makes me sick how those horses were mistreated. And
all because Skookum had to go and wash his frying pan.
He did.
Good heavens. Well...
I do have a picture, Zeb, real quick.
What's this picture of?
This is the Chilkoot Pass.
Ladies and gentlemen, look at that. Hold it up to the microphone. I'm kidding, Doc. It's not going to work, no. But that is quite... There's just person after person.
Yeah, there's no break in between.
No. And they stored their gear here, and then they went over the top.
Right, but not just here, but they had to come from Skagway, which was several miles. I can't remember how many miles before they even got to the Golden Staircase.
Wow. And I'm sure that not everybody that's in that line or that picture was reputable.
Do you think maybe there's a few crooks in that bunch?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, listen, Dr. Skookum Turner, I appreciate it very much. That was a good story. These people were nuts in those days. They probably didn't make hardly any money to live there, let alone come back rich.
With all that money that was made, very few actually came back to the States and made it work.
Really?
Very, very few.
Yep. What a sad commentary.
It really is.
To leave their family and leave warmer temperatures.
And some never to return.
And some never returned. Oh, my goodness sakes. Well, there you go. That's Dr. Oh, we got a quick call. 30 seconds, caller. Go fast.
Yes, sir. I don't know what Chilkoot is, but the top of White was 22.5 miles out of Skagway, and it goes from sea level to, I think it's 4,400 and some feet.
Wow.
In that 22 miles. So
if you would have...
It's nice if you get up there. It's expensive, but it's fun.
Let me ask you, if you would have lived back in those days, would you have been one of the gold seekers?
No, I think not.
Okay.
I would have been selling shovels and picks.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Yep.
Shovels and picks.
That's a smart thing to say, too.
Well, in fact, Zeb, just real quick, there's a lot of guys that did that. One guy just hauled up a grindstone.
Yeah.
And because he knew all the picks and shovels would have to be sharpened.
Oh, there you go.
And that's where he made his money.
I'll bet you he made a ton.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Dr. History, known worldwide. We are now in how many countries?
Over 90.
Over 90, and how many hits?
Over 200,000.
200,000.
Over 200,000.
Just think of the money we're not making yet.
I'm waiting for that check.
There you go. Check's in the mail. Minnecash Sales, thank you very much. Right across from the Burley Airport with Zach and Joanne and the whole crew over there with everything you need, whether it's vinyl and metal siding or lumber or doors, garage doors, windows, or Tartar Farm and Ranch equipment. It's all there. Get ready for spring by getting a hold of Minnecash Sales, 1321 East Main in Burley. Real quick, I got to do a commercial. What do you want to say?
I just want to thank Bert for this book on Diamond Field Jack.
Bert Stevenson, if you're listening, thank you for those two books. It's excellent, and Dr. Turner was just gushing when he saw the book. Thank you very much. Ken, are you going to be here next week?
I don't know yet, but I'll be here 2 weeks from now. That's the day before I leave for China.
Okay, and have you learned Chinese?
No.
Have you learned how to eat with chopsticks?
No.
And are you nervous about your speech?
Very nervous.
Because it's not just a little classroom, is it?
I'm hearing more and more. It's going to be quite a few people.
Close to 1,000.
I hope not.
And you have been warned not to sever relations with China.
Right.
Okay. Look at the nerves. I got to run. God bless you, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Dr. History brought to you by Minnecash Sales. Hey, we're going to have more in just a minute. I'm going to send it back over to our main studios in just a minute. Don't forget, on Thursdays, we have a segment called Cassia County School Days, and it's brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. My goodness, check check out all the spring dresses and all the suits for boys and all the medical scrubs and shoes. And don't forget, too, they've got all the games and toys and puzzles, everything for the family at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And also, don't forget Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. If you're in need of a life-saving colonoscopy or other surgeries, please call them first. They can save literally thousands and thousands of dollars. 677-8888. That number again, 677-8888. Save money, outstanding care, Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland in Burley. Oh, and just down the road just a little bit, real quick, I'm coming, Damon, stand by. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with Nick Greenwell and the rest of his great professional staff. They know all the exercises, know all the sports medicine. They've got the hydrotherapy pool with the treadmill in the bottom. I love that. And don't forget, they can help you get back to being you. Great options for you right there at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Give them a call today. Make an appointment, 678-1191. I'll be back in just a few moments.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, my goodness sakes. Interesting morning, Dr. History. Again, a very interesting segment this morning. I love that program. Dr. History with Dr. Ken Turner, and thank you very much. Before we get our guest on, I want to remind you about Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley. The number to call, Tim Vaughn, for your estimates is 431-7314. Estimates? What are you talking about, estimates? Well, let me tell you, they are a construction company specializing in large-scale industrial projects, and they are experts in constructing agricultural buildings, grain silos, commercial steel buildings, and they're an authorized dealer in Sukup, Chief, Balin, and Nucor buildings. And I'm telling you, they really know how to put up on-the-farm grain bin storage. And right now, they're also real busy with concrete work for all the mangers and the feed alleys. And by the way, they are building the brand new Funk Dairy straight south of me right here in Murtaugh. They know what they are doing. Construction, excavation, and fabrication services. Call for a bid today. Please call Tim at 431-7314. Streamline Precision at 120 South, 100 West of Burley. You give them a call today. And the call to the track is on. I'm laughing because I keep forgetting to turn off that sound. Anyway, Damon, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And right now, let's go to the phone line. And with us from the Media Research Center as a news analyst. Ooh, love that title. Here's Jeffrey Meyer. Good morning, Jeffrey. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Not too bad. Well, listen, how long have you been working with the Media Research Center?
Since January of 2012, so a little more than 3 years.
Oh, my goodness. And originally from where?
Originally from North Carolina.
You don't have that North Carolina brogue.
No, I don't. I'm from the middle of the state, so not really a southern accent here.
Well, I got to ask you, how come when you get to the middle of the state, all of a sudden the brogue leaves, or what happens there?
Well, I'm from Chapel Hill, and it's more of a transplant area, so it's more of a college town area, so I think that's what the main reason is. Half my family's from up north, so I think that's what influenced it a little bit.
Oh, there you go. You had to get the Chapel Hill in there. You had to get the North Carolina Tar Heels. And do you really disrespect Duke as much as people think you do?
I always tell people I like Coach K's politics. He's a conservative, but I don't like his coaching.
Okay. There's a lot of bitterness back there. Anyway, it's a great rivalry. Okay, one last question about basketball. Who's going to go farther in the tourney? Is it going to be Duke rated number one going in, or is it going to be upset-minded North Carolina?
The optimist in me says UNC will go farther, but the realist in me thinks probably Duke will make it further.
May I tell you, please always lean towards the realist, okay?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm hoping UNC makes it far. I have them going to a Sweet 16, losing to Wisconsin, unfortunately.
Right there, you're touching on a very, very tender subject because I'm a former Badger. I went to college at the University of Wisconsin and the University of Minnesota, and so I'm a Badger and a Gopher. We got a whole bunch of wildlife on my side. Anyway, I've got you on the program this morning, Jeff, and I appreciate it. Really, I want to ask you an opinion here. Occasionally, I tune over to MSNBC, and I got to be honest with you, Jeff, I can watch it maybe for about 15 minutes in the morning, and then I throw my hands up in the air and I go, these people are Looney Tunes. What kind of a network is this anyway?
Well, they've really gone off into a far left network. I watch it, on a regular basis for work, and unfortunately, it's all left-wingers. They have the occasional conservative that comes on there, but when they even have a conservative on there, their main objective is just to bash conservatives and promote a left-wing ideology, and so it's really gotten beyond watchable for most people, and that's why their ratings have consistently declined over the past couple of years, and it hasn't really improved ever since.
Well, what about, though, when you say that there's maybe one or two conservatives over there? I remember watching a morning program one time, hear about, December, January, something like that, and Joe Scarborough, he seems to have a little common sense, but some of the nincompoops that were sitting at the table with him, holy smokes, it was the Twilight Zone all over again.
Yeah, Joe Scarborough, every once in a while he'll say really good things. He'll defend conservatives, but I think he oftentimes has been infected with the people in his network, and he comes on and he'll say things about conservatives that sometimes we don't like that he says things that are not true. But he's one of the lone people in the network that will stand up for conservatives. This morning, Ted Cruz was on Morning Joe, and he actually stood up for him when they were debating the whole issue of the Iran letter, and he actually was surprisingly good on it. He said this is not unprecedented, and it's unfair of you to characterize it as some unprecedented partisan attack.
Yeah, but wait a minute, Jeff, I got to ask you this, and I know you've studied it because you're a man of all trades. The deal yesterday or the day before with Ted Cruz, when he used inside of a speech that he was using that the world's on fire, and the left came out and crucified Cruz, saying that he was scaring small children. What in the matter? The left in this country is nuts.
Yeah, it was a very strange thing. The networks didn't really cover this, and it was immediately, the mother of the 3-year-old daughter came up, and I believe she was on Fox News this morning. She said, he didn't scare my daughter at all. My daughter was so excited to hear him say this, and you have websites like Gawker and the Huffington Post just say, Ted Cruz is now scaring little children. It was just a completely just false thing. If you even watch the video, the girl didn't seem scared. It was just a blatant attack on Ted Cruz that was just unwarranted, and they eagerly jumped on it, even though it wasn't true.
Jeff, I got to ask you this. They tried Air America. The government said that they were almost leaning towards forcing radio stations to carry what they would call even speech, as far as, like if a conservative talk show's on, then you'd have to provide the idiocy of liberal talk shows. It's not working. Air America failed. MSNBC is failing drastically. I don't even know how they get some advertising dollars. Why is it that we're always being forced to have and or listen to this liberal garbage?
I think because certain people, especially MSNBC, they don't want to admit that the marketplace doesn't really like what they're offering. MSNBC is competing in the marketplace for ideas, and they're not doing well. So this is, I think, liberals who like the idea of the fairness doctrine want to be able to promote failing programs that otherwise would not do well. I mean, MSNBC has all the same opportunity that Fox does in terms of access to viewers, but people just aren't tuning in, and liberals don't like that. They don't really like the idea that they have to compete on an equal playing field and deal with the market realities, and so they don't really accept that reality that they're not able to succeed.
Let me ask you this, though, Jeff. Doesn't it surprise you, seriously, in your professional opinion, doesn't it surprise you that liberal airtime, whether it's MSNBC or whether it's Air America that went defunct and everything, doesn't it surprise you that people don't want it, but yet at the polls they will elect somebody like Barack Obama?
I think when you look at things like Air America and MSNBC, they're I would say they're even farther to the left than most liberals in this country. So I think that's the problem with things like MSNBC. Even I think there's a small segment of the leftist base that can tolerate MSNBC, but even for most mainstream people out there, they can't even watch it. It's just not, it's not enjoyable for them. It's not something, you can't even get real news. You don't turn on MSNBC if you want to even hear the daily news events. You just can't. So it's, I think that's part of the problem. Most Americans are, center-right in this country, and so when you have a network like Air America or MSNBC offering very far-left opinions and very far-left commentary, it's just unwatchable, and that's why they just tune it out. So it's really not surprising that their audience is not really reflective of the rest of the country.
What about the advertising dollars, though, Jeff? I mean, let's just take the company Ivory Soap. Let's just say Ivory Soap Company. And they're given all these pitches from CNN and the pitch from Fox News and the pitch from CNN, etc. And then along comes MSNBC. Why would anybody with the absolute in-the-basement numbers of MSNBC, how do they stay afloat, and why haven't they pulled the plug yet and tried to change because they're not making any money?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question, and I think that's going to be the big question for the new brass over at NBC News, because MSNBC is really hurting their brand and it's losing money for them. And if I'm an advertiser, you don't look for MSNBC to advertise because it's not profitable. So if they want to see MSNBC as a profitable enterprise, they have to really restructure it. I mean, even the networks like ABC, CBS, NBC, it's a lot easier. You're going to have a lot more audience during the prime time than you will during the network newscast. So it makes more sense to advertise during the 9 o'clock hour than it does the 6:30 hour, just more viewers. And so they have to change something. Otherwise, advertisers aren't going to see a profitable reason to pay several $100,000 to air at 2:30 in the afternoon.
I want to go to another story that you wrote, and it was about CBS equating the GOP with the Iranians. And the headline that you had written says CBS equates GOP with Iranians as hardliners who oppose nuclear deal. I dare say that if a conservative newspaper would have put that the Dems, the Democrats, were hardliners and basically in bed with the Iranians, there'd be all heck to pay. But why is it that CBS and the liberals get away with it?
Well, I think in this instance, you essentially have CBS News, in this case it was Margaret Brennan, who was their State Department reporter, who has essentially said anyone that is criticizing the Obama administration deal with Iran, which nobody really knows what's in the deal, then they're really seen as obstructing progress, and that's what it's turned out. They've really taken the administration line that this is good, this has to be done, and even though there are valid criticisms for the deal, that's not being portrayed. I mean, even this morning, CBS was really quick to promote how President Obama slammed the GOP letter, and they quoted some guy from the Carnegie Institute basically saying that this is the only solution that these two sides can come to an agreement on. There was not even a consideration that, hey, wait a second, maybe this isn't the best deal out there for the United States.
I'm sitting here and I read your story, and then, of course, I've reported on this for the last couple of weeks, and I'm absolutely offended and, quite frankly, astounded that this president thinks that he is a king and or dictator to where he can skirt the Senate, he can make a treaty, and he can tell the United Nations, but we, the people of the United States and our own Congress, we're the last ones to know what's going on. This is absolute lunacy, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely, and I don't think the networks really haven't acknowledged that much. They focused a large amount of time on simply promoting the idea that the GOP is the one that's causing the problem, and they really haven't seriously examined whether or not President Obama should have to go to Congress. And they kind of say, well, that's not really the issue. The GOP's causing problems. They're going to blame them for any deal, and they even tout the Iranian leadership criticizing the GOP deal as if that's supposedly a legitimate argument for criticizing the GOP. Even the Iranians say this. They're equating the Iranians as a voice of reason in the argument, and that's really unfortunately the networks choose to do that so willingly.
I got to ask you, there was one line of your story that was a kind of a quotation from John Kerry, and I'm just going to read this little block, and I want you to respond to this. Kerry said, progress has been made on limiting Iran's nuclear technology. Now a major challenge is convincing hardliners in Iran to allow access to nuclear sites and military bases and to persuade them to slow down research and development. You know, when I read that one word, persuade, the German temper came out in me, Jeffrey, and we should be telling them, no, you will not develop nuclear warheads. No, you will not develop a nuclear missile system. We are telling you this, or the sanctions are going to be so hard, you'll pray for a jar of peanut butter. Why are we using the word persuade?
Yeah, I really can't get into the mindset of John Kerry, but I can tell you that there's been really no criticism of the administration's deal. There's never been an understanding that, hey, under this deal, there's going to be a kind of relaxation of the sanctions. And that's not considered controversial. And it's really, the Democrats haven't really acknowledged that the Obama administration seems to be very much in favor of giving in terms of limiting sanctions and all that stuff. But what are we getting in return? There's no real hard, concrete evidence that we're getting anything. And I think that's part of the problem here. There's not really any evidence that the media is open to examining why this deal might not be good, and instead they say, oh, this is something we have to do. And they'd be kind of really promoting John Kerry going over there. Even the other day on MSNBC, they're promoting John Kerry going for a bike ride. Oh, look, he's getting some exercise in Switzerland. This is so great. No real critical analysis of what this deal actually will do for the United States.
Okay, right there, though, Jeff, and I got to wrap it up, but as a journalist and a person that wants to look at things objectively as to what's going on in the news, aren't you highly offended with this attitude of this administration that we, the American public, with our Constitution, we the people, and our leadership is supposed to keep us informed as a free society, and they're not telling us anything? Aren't you absolutely livid about that?
I am, and I think the media should be too. I think they're supposed to be kind of the place that obtains information for the people from the government, and they're not really doing that. And I think they're doing a disservice to the public who are demanding answers and want to know what is this deal, and we're not getting it. So I think the media is to blame in not giving the American people answers that they are rightly deserving of. And I think that's a major problem here. They just accept the administration's line and really don't do the American public's service of giving them answers.
Well, one last thought here real quick on the same vein. What about the 47 senators headed up by Tom Cotton? What do you think the response in the long run will be because of that letter?
The response from the administration or from the media?
All of the above.
I think I think from the media, if this deal doesn't go the way the administration wants, I think they're going to blame the GOP. I think they've already started blaming them that if this doesn't go well, that it's going to be the Republicans' fault. I think there's no doubt about that. They've been very quick to blame them already, and no matter what happens, if a deal goes through, they're going to say this was in spite of GOP efforts. So I think no matter what happens, they're going to find some way to make the GOP look like a problem and a thorn in the side of the administration.
Okay. Jeffrey Meyer, you're welcome anytime. News analyst for Media Research Center. Sir, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Thank you. Jeffrey Meyer of Media Research Center. And I really use a lot of those people back there on the East Coast because of their professional opinions, and they really study this every day, and I thank him very much. Holy smokerolies, it's time for the weather forecast, and it's brought to you this hour by my buddy Don Scarrow and Scarrow's Meats. Hello, Donald! They sell taste one bite at a time. They're located at 331 North Road, Jerome, and the telephone number is 324-7657, and they've got a special. Oh, this is good. For $300, you get a tax return meat package. Listen to this. You get beef, ground beef patties, rump roast, New York steaks. You get pork chops. You get bacon and bratwurst. Oh, my chicken and cheese. Woo! Does this sound good or what? You got to call them and ask them about it. It's called the Tax Return Meat Package at Scarrow's Meats, selling taste one bite at a time. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers for Zeb of the Ranch. So you guys, how are you today? to carry over until tonight. Well, you're going to come out of it tomorrow. It's going to be nice. It's going to be really nice and sunny. So we just get through today. Got a nice day for tomorrow, and it'll take you all the way into the weekend. Daytime highs in the 60s for today, 40s for the overnight low. Don't forget, you should hit 71 by Saturday. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the weather. Stay on what you got.
Thank you, Michael. And, of course, the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats. They're selling taste one bite at a time. I urge you to give them a call, 324-7657, 331 North Road in Jerome, Scarrows Meats. Oh, boy, that sounds good. St. Patrick's Day. Everybody enjoys St. Patrick's Day. Be careful out there. There's a lot of St. Patrick's Day parties. I was just looking at my list here, and the dog starts barking and everything else. Worldwide, St. Patrick's Day parades and celebrations. I mean, Boston's going to be having a ball today. Oh, man. Woo! Boston, Massachusetts. They said that over 600,000 visitors will go to Boston today in honor of the St. Patrick's Day. Wow. And in New York, they're going to have a great big parade, and they're going to have over 150,000 participants. Scranton, Pennsylvania, Chicago. Oh, boy, they're really going to. They make the Chicago River green today. And New Orleans, well, they're hiring a kite down there in New Orleans all the time anyway. And a lot of celebrations, but be careful out there. A day for the Irish. St. Patrick's Day. Oh, and don't forget, if you need new tires, there is a huge spring tire sale going on right now at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations. Convenient credit for tires and services. Absolutely. They've got credit easy for you over there at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with the best tire value promise in the industry. They've got tires like the Ultra Z900, all-season design. Oh boy, up to an 80,000-mile warranty, depending on the size of the tire. And then for your pickups and SUVs, the Wildcat AT2, traction in all seasons, smooth ride, you're going to love it. Oh my, big spring tire sale, with also the best in brake service too. See Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Now, a little bit of what's going to happen tomorrow, we think. And the reason I say we think is everything's always subject to change. I haven't had a chance to talk to Damon over there, my board operator and engineer, but I think at 8:30 tomorrow we're going to have United States Senator Mike Crapo call in. And then we're going to have Arthur Thompson. Arthur's going to be in Burley on Thursday for that free trade seminar. And my good buddy Dave Bigo is going to be on the air tomorrow, and he'll be on at 9:30. And then don't forget, also tomorrow, the one, the only, thank goodness, Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fish and Game will be on from 10:06 to 11. So that's kind of a rundown as to what we're expecting tomorrow on Zeb at the Ranch. And a quick reminder that Lunch Bunch will be on Thursday this week, Thursday, day after tomorrow, at 11:30 at Denny's, and our thanks go to Walmart, Smith's Food King, and Hanson Mortuary for the door prizes. Until tomorrow morning at 8:06, we'll saddle the horse and ride for 3 hours right here on Zeb at the Ranch, and remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. Damon, have a good day. Everybody have a good day. See you tomorrow morning. Thank you.